killing of innocent people, men, women, children, by Palestinians?
Well, I think it's I think it's a horrible thing. I've always been against it. I've always felt that the emphasis on what has been called armed struggle has been indiscriminate and sometimes foolishly and, in a political sense, stupidly relied on. But I never will concede that the essence of the Palestinian struggle, as the Israelis say, is terrorism. I think that the Palestinians, by and large, to a fantastic degree, have waged war against a merciless occupier, a person, a state, an army, an enemy that has dispossessed them and has done far, far worse to Palestinians than any Palestinians have done to Israelis. And I think one must always make the distinction between terrorism, which is, as I say, random and stupid and unpolitical, and the struggle against an oppressor. And I think in that particular distinction, I'm obviously for the latter and totally against the former. At the same time, as I say, that I myself have always been made uncomfortable by the use of arms in this very ugly and long-standing struggle. But I certainly must say that I've been much more impressed by the cruelty and, above all, the extent of Palestinian suffering than at the hands of the Israelis than the other way around. I mean, the ratio is infinitely greater. The Israelis make no secret of it, that they've always killed Palestinian civilians, sometimes at the rate of 100 to 1 Israeli death. So I think, given that, I think the use of the word terrorism is a mistake.
That seems very clear, but also very cold and unfeeling, one has to say.
I'm not sure what you mean, unfeeling.
Well, to say that bombing schools or school buses is not political.
No, I mean, by that I mean it's wanton murder, is what I'm saying. If that's being cold, then I'm being cold. I'm simply saying that all violence of this sort is ugly. I don't myself believe in the purifying quality of violence as it's sometimes alleged to have. I don't believe in cults of arms and blood and so on and so forth. So that any act of that sort horrifies me. And I've grown up in an area which has had more than its share of violence in my lifetime. But the best that can be said about it is that it's advanced a political goal. I mean, certainly the Zionists have used it and brought it, in fact, to the area. Terrorism, as we know it today, the planting of bombs in marketplaces and so on and so forth, was, in fact, introduced into the Middle East by the Zionists in the 20s. So I'm against that, but what I'm also trying to say is that some people will say that it advances a political cause. I myself don't feel that it does. I mean, I think it in this way it simply attracts attention to it. But the net result of Zionist terrorism and violence in the first third of the 20th century has brought forth, to my mind, the anomaly, the horrific and unacceptable status in the Middle East today of the State of Israel, which is in fact an armed garrison state, which now exports more arms and distributes violence all around the world, vastly disproportionate to its size. I mean, in that respect, I think it's a horrible cycle of violence. But in it all, I think the Palestinian is the victim. There's no question about that.